it's perfect for sure. And I don't have any leftovers, so yes! It looks super weird without the sleeves on, see-through. So I'm gonna have to find a solution to make it cover what it needs to cover. And 50% Swartbulls. In my head it was only 200 grams, but this is what was delivered. And this is 200 grams. So let me tell you, there was a problem in size. Hi, my name is Maya and welcome to episode 55 of my knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 25th of June 2025 and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko. Today's program, I have one finished object, kind of. I have 3 works in progress, kind of. And I have some acquisitions for once, and they are very, very, very special, especially one of them, but more on that at the end. I'm so excited to share this. And I have, what do I have? Yes, I have a few bits and bobs to tell you about, but we will see at the end how much time we have and how many of them I end up talking about. But yeah, at the end. Let's get started right away. So my finished object is the one I'm wearing, and it's not really a finished object because it wasn't really a project to begin with. I mean, I don't really know how to say it, but basically this is the mini mock neck tank by Jessie May, and I did this one last year, more than a year ago, but it wasn't perfect, so I decided to fix it, and the fixing is done. Yeah, but also the fixing was more than half re-knitting it, so I guess it was a project, but yeah, whatever. So basically what was happening is that it was a little bit too small in the body because I did a lot of body shaping in the form of decreases here, and I did too much and it was too tight. And then I don't know why I decided, oh, it's long enough, and I just stopped, and I had a bit of leftover, and as you probably know, I hate leftovers. And then this little ball of leftovers has been stressing me out for more than a year, and it was too short. So I was like, I should just add this leftover yarn into the thing, no? But it's also too tight, so I should just unravel the whole body and knit it bigger and add the thing at the end. But I didn't want it to, because it's always better to knit on new and shiny stuff than to fix older stuff. However, I really, really love this piece. I love the color, I love how it fits up here. So yeah, it was just dumb to have also this leftover stressing me out when I could just use it up. So I finally decided to do it, and I'm so happy I did, because now it's perfect for sure. And I don't have any leftovers, so yes! So yeah, I unraveled the whole body until right here at the underarms. I just didn't want it to have to do the joining in around again. And I sized down the needle because Jessie May very often uses very loose gauges on her designs, even the negative ease ones. So this one is negative ease, and it's supposed to be knit on 3.5 millimeters with fingering weight yarn, and that's like the gauge I would use for something drapey and flowy like a cardigan or a shawl, not for a fitted garment. So I'm not sure why I used the suggested needles when I knit this for the first time. And on top of that, this yarn is Olivia and Oliver Fibers Classic Sock in the colorway Lofoten Island, and it's a very thin sock yarn. Usually sock yarns are like 400 meters per 100 grams, and this one is 420, so it's a little bit thinner, and it wasn't big needles, so yeah. Long story short, it was a bit see-through, which was not the best. I mean, I don't really care if something is see-through, but since I was re-knitting it anyway, I decided to size down the needle. So I went down to 3.25. I couldn't really go any lower, otherwise it would really be visible. And you can kind of tell, you probably cannot on the camera, but in real life you can kind of see there is a little bit of a line happening here, because this gauge is a little bit bigger. But if I hadn't told you, you wouldn't have known. And you are a knitter, I think. So someone that's not a knitter is never gonna notice that, so I don't care. But yeah, I couldn't really go down to 3, even though that's what I wanted to do. So I stick to 3.25, so the gauge is a little bit tighter, and I did a lot less decreases here on the body. and I knit it longer, and now it's perfect. I'm so glad I did that. It wasn't even that long because knitting in a round is fun to do and it's very practical and it's portable and all of that. So yeah, it was just the best solution. And now the length. So this is my belly button and the length is about here. And before, the problem is that when you put something on that's fitted, you can like put it down to a certain length, and then as you move around and as you wear it, it tends to ride up, and it was too short when it was riding up. I think what happened is that I tried it on and it was the correct length, but I didn't consider that it was going to shrink with wear and I would have to pull it down constantly to get it to the length I initially wanted. So this one is too long when I put it on, but now it's been like 10 minutes and it's at the correct length, which is below my belly button, which is inside my high-waisted stuff. This is absolutely not fitting together, but I don't care. I just wanted to show you. This is the usual height of my pants, and this is long enough to go below. Because before, it was always like doing this thing and pulling over it and having this little bit of skin showing that I don't like. It's either super cropped or long enough to go inside. And it was kind of a weird in-between, but that way, it's perfect. That's what I wanted. I'm so happy. So that's my kind of finished object. I only reknitted half of it, so maybe it's a half finished object. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm super, super happy about this one and glad to have this leftover out of my stash. All right, let's immediately talk about what you are all here for, I think, which is my current design, which is this absolute beast of a sweater. Oh my god, it's so cool. I love it so much. So this is the Patagonia Peaks. I changed the name. It used to be Patagonia sweater, but now it's the Patagonia Peaks because it sounds better, but more on that later. And I finished the body, as you can see. I inserted the elastic into the bottom hem here, so this is elastic, and I still have the elastic dangling here because I'm not 100% sure about the tightness, so I just made a knot and it's still attached, and if I want to adjust it, I can. So for now, we have this situation. And I just have the button placket here on each side. It's going to be in the lime green color on both sides, and then the two sleeves, and I need to buy the buttons. I completely forgot I would need to buy buttons. And I wanted to have snap buttons because that's what you usually have in those kinds of sweaters, so I need to find snap buttons that are this color. It shouldn't be too hard, but I need to do it, and I'm lazy. I don't want to, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get to like 2 days before the moment I want to do the test call, and I still won't have buttons. And I will regret intensely my laziness, but that's how I roll. That's my life. So this yarn is Knit Picks Bubbly Bouclé in the colorways. It's going to be on the screen. And yes, you cannot get this yarn outside of the US or Australia or Canada. I'm sorry, but I designed this thing so that it would be in a gauge that's easy to substitute with other kinds of yarn, not necessarily bouclé. This, by the way, is a sport weight yarn, and I'm holding it double. So this is what it looks like, and I'm holding the strand together. 2 sport weight for a kind of Aran weight gauge. So the garter gauge on the yoke is 13 stitches, and the colorwork gauge is 16 stitches. 16 stitches. And it's knit on 5mm for both. That's US 8. So this gauge you should be able to get with like most blown yarns, like Drops Air or stuff like that have a lot of color selection, and you should also be able to find a few other bouclé yarns that are not the bulky ones, like the Teddy Deer from Gepard Gun or stuff like that, but there are a few other selections, but I didn't choose them because they didn't have the colors I wanted, but there are other possibilities. And I don't know how many of you will want to have something that's this bright. Now, last time I had a little bit of a panic attack because I thought I was gonna run out of yarn, and it's fine. It was just a fluke, an error in my math, because basically this yoke section is knit bottom up, so you cast on a ton of stitches here, and then you work decreases on the sleeves, and then you join the shoulders together here while you do shaping. It's super cool to do. And for some reason, I messed up when I calculated the gauge of the garter versus the colorwork, and I cast on the number of stitches I needed for the colorwork instead of for the garter, because you need less stitches for the garter. So I had way too many stitches. But fortunately, I just had to insert a needle a little bit further up and then cut down the bottom part that had too many stitches, and then I was back on track, and then I could pick up again from there. So I saved it, and I got quite a lot of yarn back from this little operation. I got this much, so this is, I think it was like 30 grams, which is more than enough for what I need. So I'm not going to run out at least of this one. And then I thought I was also going to run out of the contrast colors for the colorwork, the other 3, because when I did the original drawing, I did 5 repeats of the triangle section, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I drew a 5th one, and I drew, I think, 6 on the sleeves, and I did my math based on that. So I need 1 section, and then I calculated how many grams I used for 1 triangle, and then I counted how many triangles of each color I had in total using my drawing. And then I completely forgot that my row gauge is actually longer than I thought, which means I only need 4 repeats on the body and only 5 on the sleeves, which means I have enough yarn. So we should be good, because yeah, this is not available in Europe, and Switzerland is in Europe. So it would have been an absolute pain to get this to me. I had some options. Thank you. You know who you are. Thank you for offering the possibility to get this to me. But yeah, fortunately, I have enough yarn and we're good to go. Now, I wanted also to mention something, which is the floats. Let me show you my floats. It's going to be hard to show. Do I need to really flip the whole thing? Yeah, those are my floats. And I am doing a technique called Ladderback Jacquard, which basically means I am knitting the floats together on the back, so I can put my finger in there, and this here, you cannot see anything because it's bouclé, but there is a column of stitches, and I can put my finger behind, so it's not connected to the fabric on the front, but it allows the floats to have a little bit of elasticity, because as you know, knitted fabric is elastic, you can pull on it, but the float is not, because the float is just a thread, it's not elastic. So floats tend to make knitted fabric less elastic unless you knit them together, which is exactly what Ladderback Jacquard does. So those floats are a little bit elastic because there is a column of knit stitches here, which is great because now this is a very nice and stretchy fabric. However, when you decrease down this extra stitch at the end of the ladder, it kind of shows, and it's mostly because it's bouclé. I don't think it shows if you're using normal yarn, but yeah, sometimes I have this showing up, sometimes I don't. I don't really know why. It's mostly okay, but sometimes it's not okay at all, and you can really see it popping through. Maybe it depends a little bit on the colors, but yeah, there are... Wait, why am I only seeing the places where it's completely okay? Yeah, there are definitely a few spots where it's not. Yeah, I had to play around a little bit with how I was decreasing this extra stitch. And the first time I was just doing knit two together, and that was like the worst. That's what I was doing in the swatch, and it was really, really showing super bad, like even worse than this. And then I tried doing slip, slip, knit, absolutely the same. And then I tried doing slip, slip, knit, the alternate way, because when you do normal slip, slip, knit, you slip knitwise, slip knitwise. You place the two stitches back on the left-hand needle, and then you knit those 2 stitches together. And the alternate way is you slip 1 stitch knitwise, and you knit 2 together, this stitch with the second stitch through the back loop. If you know, you know. And this alternate way, which gives the same result usually as a slip-slip knit, it's just a little bit cleaner. This way made it so that the decrease was a lot nicer on the Ladderback Jacquard technique for some unknown reason. I don't know if it will be the case for everyone, but yeah, I included this piece of information in the pattern, and you will probably have to test in your swatch which method is best for you, because what works for me is probably not going to be what works best for you. But also, yeah, sometimes it worked here and sometimes it didn't. I don't really know, but whatever. I can maybe show you from the back here. I can pull on the stitch, and then if on the same time as I pull on the back, I pull on the front stitch, it's a little bit tricky to do because there is fluff everywhere. Yeah, you can kind of make it disappear. It's a little bit better. So yeah, you just have to go back and do this manipulation on the little ones that are still visible. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, just wanted to mention. There was a little bit of a learning curve regarding that, but other than that, it's perfect! I should probably try it on, but I'm super hot. So I will put it on, but not for too long, just to show you. Wish me luck. I was already sweating before, but this is what it looks like. I love it so much. It's so cool. Oh my goodness. And yeah, the elastic is cinching the body just how I want it, and it's quite long. As I mentioned, my belly button is here, my hips are here, and this is, I don't know, maybe I should back up a little bit. This is how it's fitting. I think blocking will probably elongate it a little bit, like something like this. I don't really know. It looks super weird without the sleeves on, but imagine the long sleeves that are gonna go until there, probably, and also with the slight balloony effect, and it's gonna be much better. So that's how it's looking like, and you can also imagine the button placket that's gonna close. Like so. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. It's very big on me. I designed it so that you can go, the lowest ease you can have is 10 centimeters, so that's 4 inches. And I think I have like 30 centimeters of positive ease at the full bust, because my upper bust is bigger. So at my upper bust is like 25 centimeters, so it's very big. You're not supposed, I mean, you can go with less ease than that, because I know a lot of people don't really like too much ease. So you can. Basically, you're supposed to have between 10 to 20 centimeters of positive ease, so 4 to 8 inches, but you can go up to 30. So you do whatever. And yeah, I'm super happy, I'm super hot, and I'm super excited. Also the pocket, it's not going to be knitted, because otherwise it's going to be way too thick. So I'm going to insert a pocket made with fabric, but everything is in the pattern, everything is explained. You just take 2 rectangles of fabric, you sew them together on 3 sides, and then you sew the 2 open sides to one to here and one to here, and you have a pocket. So easy peasy. And hopefully the test call should be up, I think, in about 3 weeks. The pattern, I just received the first round of edit from my tech editor, and I haven't looked at exactly what she said, but she just said there was nothing major spotted, so it should be easy to edit. I'm too hot. So there shouldn't be too much to do. So technically the pattern could be ready pretty soon. However, I have something else that I'm working on, and that's also going to be ready pretty soon for test call. And I don't want to do like a test call next week and then another one in 3 weeks. I don't know, I just feel weird doing that. So I think I'm just going to do both test calls in 3 weeks, because I also know some people want to... I've received so many messages from people saying, I want to get more yarn for this project. Don't do the test call just yet, I'm not ready. So I'm going to postpone the test call to 3 weeks so that people who want to be ready can. I haven't even done the yarn estimates, but yeah, whatever. The test call will be coming probably in 3 weeks, and yeah, I'm super excited, and I think you are too. I've never received so many messages of people being excited about something. Maybe even more than the skirt, so yeah, that says a lot. Anyway, regarding the name, I wanted to explain why I changed it. So it used to be the Patagonia sweater, because this is completely inspired by the Patagonia fleece jackets with the high neckline, collar thing, and then the quarter zip buttoned up on the front, and the patch pocket, not patch pocket, but the pocket on the chest here. So it's completely inspired by those types of Patagonia fleece jackets. And also the little triangles here reminded me of Mountain Peaks, even though it's supposed to be like, not waves, but like zapping things. It would be thunder if it was in this direction, but yeah, that's what it's supposed to be, but they look a little bit like Mountain Peaks, so why not? But I wasn't sure, because Patagonia sweater, it sounds, yeah, I don't know, it's cool, but I just thought it could be better. So I did a lot of polls on Instagram to ask you guys your opinion on that, and I'm glad I did, because Patagonia sweater was absolutely not the best solution, apparently. And yeah, you're gonna have to head over to Instagram if you want to see the results of those, but just to sum things up, I received a ton of very fun name suggestions, and I think the funniest one was like Patagucci, which is something this person told me they are calling the Patagonia fleece jackets that way because Patagonia is a little bit fancier of a brand than the other types of fleece jacket. So Patagucci, it's hilarious. Yeah, but I didn't want it to go with that because Gucci is like very high-end fashion stuff, all of that, and this is absolutely not supposed to be high-end fashion, high street stuff. It's just fun and sporty. So yeah, even if Patagucci is funny, Gucci is just not the vibe at all, so not that. Someone else mentioned the drag artist Patagonia, which I had never heard about, but wow. It was a great moment when I discovered her Instagram account and I watched all the posts and the reels, and it was just so fun and wow. Just an absolutely incredible person. And yeah, naming this the Patagonia would be super fitting. It would be super cool, but I didn't know this person and I didn't design this to look like Patagonia's aesthetic. So I just didn't want it to take advantage of someone else's success and pretend like I was doing something related to them when I absolutely was not. It was just not the idea at all. I didn't even know them. And then I also had Patagonia pullover, which sounds a lot better than Patagonia sweater because you have the P and the P. So I could have just gone with Patagonia pullover from the beginning. But I think pullover is a little bit difficult to say and it's just a bit too long. So yeah, anyway, long story short, I decided to go with Patagonia Peaks, which was the initial idea. The very first idea I had was Patagonia Peaks, but I thought it would be a little bit too, I don't know, unclear or misleading if the word sweater or something equivalent was not in the name. So that's why I ended up going with Patagonia sweater. But then doing the poll on Instagram, I realized like a lot of people said that first sweater wasn't the best, and then that having a name without a sweater, jacket or fleece, whatever, was best. So I went back to my original idea, which was Patagonia Peaks, which is how this beauty is called now. So watch out for the Patagonia Peaks test call in about 3 weeks. And until then, I will happily knit on the sleeves until I can wear it in the mountains and hopefully take fun pictures in the mountains. We'll see. Alright, let's talk about my next work in progress, which is not very far, but last time I only showed you the swatch, which is the right side, yes, this one. So this is a swatch for a test knit I'm doing for the Crea Bea, Rebecca Clow, yes. It's the Gress Tee, but I'm doing the tank version. So she has the Gress Tee with the short sleeves and then the tank and the fingering weight and the DQ weight versions. And it's basically a garter and lace motif. So you have the garter bands here, and then the lace. And I just tried some striping sequence here, and I am in the middle of a row. So this is what my back panels look like. I decided to go with the striping where I have the garter in one color and the lace in another color. The main pattern, I mean the original design by Rebecca is not in two colors, but a lot of testers did that, and it was also my initial plan because I wanted to use up leftovers and I didn't have enough in one color to do the whole thing, so I just used the two together. The yarn I'm using is Trio 2 by, I don't have it here, Trio 2 by Isea. And I have those two leftovers, partial skeins, and then I have one of each that is complete, so I should have enough, I don't know. And it's a blend of linen, silk and viscose, so very drapey, very lovely. And it's growing up steadily, I would say. I like it. It's gonna be super fun. It's also very see-through, so I'm gonna have to find a solution to make it cover what it needs to cover. Someone sent me an idea that I could buy a very thin, ready-to-wear top or something and just cut off a little bit of fabric into that and sew this very thin fabric and elastic and stretchy fabric to this instead of my original idea was to knit a stockinette panel and sew it inside, but yeah, it would be a little bit thick. So I like this idea of having a fabric panel just sewn on the inside, and that would be in a stretchy fabric. So I think if I can find some fabric, I'm definitely gonna do that, but I'm not sure I have something, and I'm not sure I want to buy something, so we will see. But that's definitely a solution that I would like to try. And yeah, I'm just working steadily. I'm knitting size 2, obviously in the fingering weight version, and I'm using the recommended needles, which are 3.25. My gauge is absolutely perfect, spot on, like the stitch and row gauge, perfect, which is pretty rare, so I was happy about that. I wanted to mention that, yeah, as you may know, I design a lot these days, these past month. And so it means I knit a lot of my own patterns and designs, and I knit a little bit less of others. And when I knit something that's not mine, I like fix stuff, so I don't follow a pattern. So yeah, it's been a while since I followed someone else's pattern, and it made me kind of reconsider how hard I am on myself when I write up my own patterns, because this one is like basic. And Rebecca is very well known, and she's well known for her designs being easy to follow, even for beginners. And I mean, she's not particularly targeting beginners, but even if you don't have a lot of experience, you can totally get away with her designs. Even those that are a little bit more involved, like the cable stuff, all of that. And this is a pretty basic design. It's just a tee with a repetition of lace and garter, so it's really not the most out there thing. And a lot of people were kind of lost following the instructions, because basically the lace and garter section are explained at the beginning, basically where you need to swatch. So she explains how to do the repeat, and then there is a section explaining that when you increase, I should really finish my row. Let me finish my row. All right. So this is a European shoulder construction. So basically, you cast on here at the top, and then you increase rapidly on both sides, here and here, to form the shoulders, and then you're gonna pick up from here and knit straight until you get over the shoulder, and then you're gonna do some increases and cast on the front neck, and then knit the front, and then you're gonna join everything in a round at the underarms. Which means you have to increase here on each back shoulder, and you need to increase in pattern because you're doing lace. And it's not explained. I mean, it's explained in the concept, but basically it says increase in pattern. So it's not explained line by line what you should do. And the problem that makes it a bit difficult to follow is that this pattern, this lace motif, is offset on each two rows so that it's kind of staggered like that, which means every lace row, so every white side row, you're supposed to be offset by 1 stitch. But if you're increasing, you're offsetting the offset. And you're increasing every row, so you're not increasing the offset because you increase 2 yeah. If you don't understand what I'm saying, it's because it's a little bit complicated. And when you increase at the underarms, you're only increasing, you're not increasing at the same rate anymore, so you're not doing the same thing you were doing at the beginning. I'm not there yet, but yeah, it's different. And it's a little bit difficult to get your hand around it. And I'm like, why aren't the instructions just written out? Like just knit 1, knit 2, increase, and then yarn over, stuff like that, explain. And all the sizes begin at the same place. I mean, you cast on and then you have a bit of garter and then you do the lace. So at the beginning, all the sizes do the same thing. So I understand that at the underarms, it's difficult to do that because you're supposed to knit to a certain length and not everyone will start the underarm shaping at the same part of the pattern. So I understand that you cannot do a line-by-line instruction for the underarms. But at the beginning, it's the same for everyone, unless I missed something. So yeah, and I cast on quite late because this test knit started, I think, back in May or something, or even maybe end of April, I don't know, it was a super long time ago. And I could see in the chat a lot of people were struggling to maintain the pattern. And then I could see in the pictures people were sending in the chat that a lot of people messed up the lace and that this is supposed to look very like, yeah, you have this kind of staggered look and some people didn't have it because they didn't offset the lace because they just messed up when increasing and because it's difficult to maintain. So it is a problem, but also it's not because a lot of people didn't have any issues. And I had to do quite a few tries. My gauge swatch is an absolute mess, but now I got it, so I'm doing okay, but it's a bit more difficult than I was expecting, and I was just expecting a bit more hand-holding from the part of such a well-known designer, a designer that's this much well-known for her patterns being easy to follow. Yeah, I just thought it's not easy to follow. So basically just be careful if you want to do this one. It's definitely not beginner-friendly, and definitely I would suggest you have already done a bit of lace. I have, and it's difficult, so yeah, I'm just a little bit surprised about that. However, it made me think about my own designs because I put a lot of effort into hand-holding to the most I can without the pattern becoming like beginner-friendly thing, which too much explanations and making it difficult to follow for people who know what's happening. I try to find a balance between those two, and I'm realizing that my vision of how much detail is necessary might be super high because apparently you can like be successful and have patterns sell super well even when you have minimal amount of descriptions. I mean, it's pretty obvious because like patinate patterns are known to be pretty less hand-holding and they are super famous. So yeah, I knew that already, but yeah, it was just interesting to see that by myself. And I'm not thinking all that because I would like to lower the quality of my explanations, definitely not. However, lately I've been in kind of a not anxiety, but yeah, it was a stressful situation because basically I was knitting furiously on this guy and grading and writing the pattern for this thing, which is, well, first it's big, but it's also kind of complicated because you have this shoulder construction, it's the ziggurat method, and bottom up or top down, whatever, it's difficult to do because there is a lot of shaping at the same time, there is a lot of very small steps, one after the other, and they are all different, so sometimes you're doing short rows and then you're binding off and then you're picking up and stuff like that, so it's all very small things one after the other, so you never have like, you do one thing for a long time and then you switch to the next thing. With this type of construction, it's not like that. So it's just complicated to do. And it's even more difficult to explain in a way that makes it into an easy and fun process because the most important is to have fun. I had a ton of fun making this, but I just want other people to have fun as well. So yeah, it was difficult. And of course, My initial idea was to have 2 gauges available for this guy. So this is Iron weight gauge, and I wanted to have the DK weight gauge as well, because I know Iron weight is a little bit difficult to find yarns for. And it's something I've done in the past for a few other patterns of mine. When they are a little bit of an easier design, like just a tank top or a t-shirt or stuff like that, I have 2 gauges available. And I don't know at what point I forgot that this is not an easy t-shirt design. It's not a tank top. It's like super involved, and the shoulder construction is complicated and it's difficult to grade, and there is this big colorwork chart that's making the sizing a bit difficult to do because you have big increments of sizes. And yeah, it's just very involved and very challenging to grade in 2 different gauges. If it's just a stockinette t-shirt or just a tank top with a little bit of patterning that has like no sleeves, or yeah, of course it's easy. You can just change the gauge in the spreadsheet, and just have to fiddle with a few numbers and you're good to go. But this is absolutely not it, and it was stressing me out so much because I was trying so hard to squeeze like an enormous amount of work into the time frame I would for a normal amount of work, and it was just not possible. Also, I don't have the yarn for the DK weight version yet. So I have one lonely skein of this particular base. I want to do the second version in DK with, but I only have it in 1 color. And I could swatch for the garter part, but it would have meant I would have had to swatch for the colorwork with 1 color, which is possible, but not fun at all. And like, so many opportunities to do mistakes and not have a correct gauge swatch. And then I would have had to do the yarn estimates based on that dodgy gauge swatch. And yeah, it was just like, how am I gonna do that? And I'm waiting on the yarn. It's gonna come at the end of the summer. And I couldn't sleep because I was thinking, oh, how am I gonna solve this if I have the DK weight version? How am I gonna make the instructions into an easy way that works for both versions? And it was just stressing me out. I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking about this all the time. I was canceling stuff because I had to work on this, and yeah, it was just getting completely out of control. And then I started working on the Gress test, and I realized, wait, it's just a knitting pattern. And this tank sure comes in 2 gauges, but it's so basic. It's super easy. I mean, I think the pattern is like maybe 8 pages long, I don't know. And this one is 16 without the charts. And yeah, I was like, I can also just calm down and accept that this is not a design that is worth squishing 2 gauges together into 1, and I can just sell separately the Iron weight gauge and the DK weight gauge, and it's okay because it's usually how it's done. And as much as I don't really support like designers that put out one version of a pattern in 1 gauge and then they put out the same pattern with stripes, or the exact same pattern like basic stockinette raglan or drop shoulder with no design feature at all in a different gauge, in a different pattern, and you have to pay a whole other pattern for that. Like, that I really don't understand. But this is a bit more than a simple stockinette design with a simple construction. So I think in this case, I can accept and be nicer on myself that it's okay to have 2 different patterns. I'm probably just trying to convince you, even though I'm pretty sure most of you will probably agree that it's worth having 2 different patterns for that. Also because, yeah, of course, if I want the triangles to be the same size with a different gauge, I'm gonna have to do a whole other chart, and everything at the underarms where you increase here, it's charted. Each size has a different chart because you don't have the same amount of stitches to increase, and it's not the same depth. So yeah, I have 10 different charts, and I'm like, I can do that for a whole different gauge in the same pattern. Anyway, you get my point. So I know I said earlier that I'm gonna have the same design with 2 different gauges. It's not happening anymore. I mean, the other gauge, the DK weight, is going to happen, but later. I don't know. I think... I don't know when the yarn is going to come. It's a pre-order, so I think the worst case scenario should be August to September, so I'm going to start then the other version. the DK version, and then test call and stuff like that. Probably gonna come out in November or December, whatever. But yeah, for now, we're just having the arm weight version, and it's okay, and I can chill out, and I'm not gonna get bashed or cancelled because I had the audacity to do a super complicated pattern with only one gauge. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm sure you understand, but it was, for some reason, it was a super difficult decision to make, and it took me a whole week between the moment where I realized it was a possibility and the moment where I accepted that that's what I should do. And the moment I took the final decision, I felt so much better, and I started sleeping again. Anyway, thank you for listening to me. Now, the thing I mentioned before that I was about to cast on, that's also a design of mine, and that I wanted to do the test call in like 3 weeks, is a very simple thing that's going to come out in 2 gauges because it's a simple stockinette design that has no sleeves, so it's going to be super easy. And that is okay in regards of the amount of work that needs to be put in order to have 2 different gauges. So I have the swatch here. It's not going to tell you much because it's just stockinette, because it's easy. And my idea is to, oh, it's see-through. No, it's okay. My idea is to make a muscle tank. If you know what those are, it's like, take a basic t-shirt, like really the normal white t-shirt, really the most basic stuff around, and remove the sleeves. And that's a muscle tank, kind of. That's one of the ideas. But yeah, you can also have those with a lot of different shapings around the shoulders and then folded over edge. Yeah, you can have a lot of variants, declinations of that. But my idea is to have like the tee without the sleeve, but with a deeper armhole. And I thought it would be a nice opportunity to have fun with a construction I have never tried before. I mean, never tried designing with. I just wanted to try something new without having to do sleeves. So my idea is to use the European shoulder construction, which is exactly the one I'm using in the Gress tank that I just explained, so it's going to be easy to explain. And I wanted to use this one because I've been very on the lookout for those types of tanks, tees in the wild, and when I'm at the climbing gym or just hanging out somewhere, I see a lot of people wearing those kind of sleeveless tanks, like tees, but without sleeves. Yeah, you get what I mean. And they quite often have this type of construction. Even in the ready-to-wear world, if you just buy a t-shirt out of a random store, you can find this construction as well. If you look at the back of even some tees or stuff like that, pretty often you can find the very, not iconic, but recognizable 2 seams on the back of the shoulders, and then the whole sleeve that's coming out from that, and no seam on the front, and that's the European shoulder, basically. And it's especially common for sportswear. I don't really know why, but it's something I have noticed. A lot of people at the gym have those kind of t-shirts. And I just wanted to try. I don't really like oversized garments in this construction because I don't really like the bulk of fabric it makes at the back. But that's kind of common for every type of drop shoulder. But yeah, I just wanted to take the opportunity that this one doesn't have sleeves, so it's gonna have less of an issue of the bulk in the back, to use it, to try this construction out and see how it works. So I just watched. I haven't had the time to cast on, mainly because this swatch is on 3mm needles and the gauge is a bit too small. It's a bit too tight. I wanted a fabric that's a little bit more drapey. This is like 28 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I wanted something like 26. And it's 3mm needles, so I'm gonna have to size up to 3.25. But I only have one pair of 3.25, and they are here. So I'm using the same needles on this. And if you followed, I also said that I sized down to 3.25 for this one. So I literally have 3 projects on 3.25 and I only have 1 pair. And it's the only pair in my collection that I only have 1 pair of. Everything else I have 2 or 3, but 3.25 I never use, usually. So I have only 1. So I couldn't cast on because my needles are taken and I could just take them out, but I didn't want it to. So I haven't cast on yet just because of that. Now, the yarn is, I have a ball somewhere. It's Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the colorway Dark Sea Green. It's a lovely kind of dusty military green. Super lovely, I love this color. And I wanted to cast this on for another tee. It's the Moonset Tee by Rosetta. Since I had this yarn, I bought it a year ago, I think. And I've been wanting to cast on this tee since forever. I even swatched and everything, and I was all ready. And I had the yarn ready in a project bag with the needles for a whole year because I really wanted to cast on, but I just never did. And I'm glad I didn't, because this is perfect for the muscle tank idea I have. Like, especially in this color, for some reason, I think the army green would be especially fitted for something that's like designed to show off your muscles and your shoulders. I don't know, in my head it fits well. And I'm amazed at myself that it took me a whole year to realize that, because I had the idea of the muscle tank for a while, but for some reason I never connected the two of them together. But as soon as I did, I swatched, and now I'm ready to cast on when my needles are free. So it's not cast on yet because of that. Alright, that's it for my works in progress, kind of. This is not a work in progress yet, but yeah. Now let's talk about my acquisitions. I have two, and they are so good. It's not yarn, it's fiber, because I recently got a spinning wheel, and I'm obsessed. I love spinning, and Tour de Fleece is coming up, and I really want to spin. So I also said that I didn't want to get new yarn before I finished the previous project. Now, the previous project is all spun up, and I already know what I want to do with the yarn, but I haven't cast on yet because I've been a little bit busy with this guy, but I hope to cast on very soon. I hope to cast on before Tour de Fleece. It's the idea, but we'll see. Anyway, and to be ready for Tour de Fleece, I decided to go ahead and still buy the yarn, because it would be a shame if I finish the project and don't have the yarn the fiber I want for the next spinning project, right? So I decided to be a little bit more flexible, and I can buy the fiber for my next spinning project as soon as the yarn spun from the precedent project is finished. But I won't get new fiber unless I finish knitting the first one. Whatever. Woolen Twine Fiber Studio, the lovely Yule, she did shop updates 2 weeks ago, and for the first time ever she had spinning fiber. And of course I had to get some. I was so excited. I finally got my hands on some. So I ordered 200 grams of Onyx, which is the black fiber. And it's a blend of 50% Gotland and 50% Swartbils. And it's black yarn. It's a very, very dark shade of brown rather than black. And can you see how they are wound together? They look like little skeins of yarn, but it's fiber. Oh, it's so cute. It's just, I have never seen that before, and I cannot believe nobody thought about that before her. Now, this is not especially suitable for beginners. She had a fiber that was suitable for beginners, but it wasn't black, and I wanted black because I'm going to explain. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit more complicated to spin, especially since I don't have a lot of experience. So I'm not going to spin this one right away, but I want to combine it with what I'm going to spin first during Tour de Fleece. And I am totally going to join the, I don't remember the name, Spins on Wheels, something like that Yule created for Tour de Fleece. So basically it's going to be a race between the spinners in the team and her partner, who is a cyclist, and he's going to be cycling during Tour de Fleece, and we're going to be spinning, and it's going to be so fun, and I'm so excited. So yeah, this is one of the fibers I'm going to spin, and now the other one. You are not ready for what you're about to see. Someone that I've been chatting with for a while, and that has been testing for me as well. Her name is Nora, she's in Germany, and she saw the video I did when I was learning to spin for the first time. I did a vlog about that, and she said she can dye yarn, and she wanted to offer me to dye custom fibers for me, which was like so sweet. I was a bit, oh my god, can I really accept that? But yeah, she really wanted to, like, you know, dyeing fiber is fun and it's just another creative craft, and she said it would be fun for her to have the opportunity to dye something that would be useful to someone else, because there is only so much fiber she can dye and spin and knit herself, so she was happy to have an opportunity to do something creative that she loves to do and to have it go to someone that would use it. So that's why I accepted, and she just asked me what kind of fiber I wanted, and I said I wanted to try Rambouillet. 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 It's supposed to be French, so Rambouillet. So that's what she did. She dyed up a top, so combed top of Rambouillet. And she told me she had 200 grams coming. So that's what I thought was coming. And that's why I bought 200 grams of black fiber, because I wanted to have one strand, one ply of the black and one ply of the yarn she's gonna dye for me. That was the idea. Now, this morning I had a message from the post office saying that I received the parcel and that it was delivered in my building. So I went out at the entrance of the building and I saw there was a big parcel on the ground. That's usually where they put the parcels that cannot go into the individual boxes we have. And I just saw the parcel and I was like, that's way too big. It's not for me. So I went straight to my box, I opened it and I was like, there's nothing in there? So I went back to the big parcel that was on the ground and there was my name on it and I was like, what? Why is this box so big? So let me show you the size of the box. And in my head it was only 200 grams. But this is what was delivered. And this is 200 grams. So let me tell you, there was a problem in size. And I opened the box and I was like, oh my goodness. There was so much more than I expected. So this is what it looks like. So I have the beautiful 200 gram braid that she dyed, and that's the one I knew was coming. And then there was also this 100 gram braid, and then there were Rolex, and it's a fade. Oh my god! I can't believe how beautiful this is. I mean, look at that. Incredible. I got so excited that the battery ran out. Anyway. So I have now a lot more fiber than I expected, and if you know me, you know how this color is exactly up my alley. This type of very bright and deep, like teal turquoise tone is my absolute favorite, and it's so perfect. Not to mention the fade, it's going from my favorite color to my favorite color, and like she just nailed it so perfectly. So she dyed the fibers and she also made the Rolex herself, and yeah, and it's just so sweet because I've been wanting, like, first I want to hone my skills for just like short worsted spinning, and I really wanted to try also long draw, and I really wanted to try long draw with Rolex because it just looked like such a fun process to do. I mean, I know you can do long draw with comb top as well, but I just wanted to try Rolex because they are cute. And I never said that in a video or anything, and she just, I don't know, she guessed what was in my mind. And yeah, now I have the absolute perfect collection of little fading Rolex, and I'm speechless. It's just so good. Anyway, thank you so much, Nora. She also left a very, very sweet little message with this. You know these guys. You probably know them. If you watched one of my previous vlogs, I had a list basically in one very like super cute and childish paper, and I said that we all have this kind of childish stationery left in our lives, and we just don't want to get rid of it because it's super cute, but also there is not a lot of opportunity in an adult life to use something like this. And she did, and it's just so cute. It just made my day when I opened the parcel and I saw this paper and I was like, oh! Anyway, so this bad boy is 100% Rambouillet fiber. This one is a mix of silk and Rambouillet. And then the rolags, I think, are Rambouillet as well. No, breed not known, so I don't know the breed. But I don't care, it's gonna be awesome. And my plan is to stick with this one with the black fiber, because this one has a lot of, like, sure, it has a lot of deep, very beautiful, intense colors, but it also has a lot of white spots, not white, but less saturated, and I think it's gonna pair absolutely gorgeously with the black. And I think even the darkest spots are gonna come out. I think it's gonna be absolutely awesome. So I'm very happy. This is just a perfect pairing. I'm super excited. And I already know what I'm gonna do with these. The knitting project is already sorted. Now, those were a surprise, so I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find something. And I know Rambouillet is very, very soft. So there is a world in which I could maybe do a hat. Maybe. I'm gonna see once I'm done with this one. But yeah, also there is silk in this guy. So maybe I should use this fiber for something that has a bit more drape. I don't know. I have time to decide, but that's nice. Now all my future spinning projects are sorted. And I'm so excited. I'm just so happy. I need to show you again because I really love it. Look at that face. It's like water. Like, oh my god. Anyway, thank you so much, Nora. By the way, she did not send this to me in an attempt to get publicity or view or whatever, because she used to have a shop, but she doesn't anymore, so you cannot get this yarn. And also, I didn't had to mention this in the podcast. Of course, I had to because I wanted to, because I'm super excited, and I just wanted to show because I'm so proud of having this in my possession. But yeah, she definitely told me I didn't have to talk about it. And yeah, again, she doesn't have a shop, so it's literally just a gift from an enthusiast knitter to another enthusiast knitter. And it's just so sweet, and I just feel so blessed and spoiled. And for some reason, it's gonna make the spinning process even funnier and even better. And I'm just so excited, and I cannot wait for to the place. It's awesome. Yes. So that was the acquisitions. And yeah, sorry, I'm super excited. Now, I also wanted to talk about something else that's also very exciting. So that's also a big one. I have a few yarn shops, local yarn shops around me. I have 2 in my town, and I have 1 in my boyfriend's town. And I don't really go very often into yarn shops because I'm a bit afraid of people. If you watched my latest podcast, you know. And as much as I can, I prefer to stay at home and not talk to people. However, I also love people, and I also love connections, and I also love being around other people that enjoy the same things as me, which is mainly why I am doing a podcast and not just staying in my corner without talking to anyone. I also love connecting and sharing. But yeah, I'm a bit scared to go into yarn shops because I don't have control over what's going to happen there, if the people are going to be busy, if it's going to be like crowded or what. And yeah, it just stresses me out a little bit. So it's not my favorite to go into a yarn shop, but I love to support my local like sellers, and I love the community aspect of it as well. But anyway, it's a bit complicated in my head. Whatever. One of my local yarn shops in my town is called Little Mai, and the owner is called Julie. And we started talking because she applied to test knit a design of mine, and so we started chatting a little bit. And she said it would be nice to do maybe like an event at the shop with my designs, and I was like, what? And I know it's a thing because I know she has done that with another designer in the same town And I've seen the events through Instagram and stuff like that, so I know it's something that can be done, and I've also seen it done in other parts of the world, of course, not only in this particular shop in Switzerland. But yeah, she suggested we could do that with my designs, and I was like, wow, I don't have a lot of designs, but it's just... I was kind of feeling overwhelmed. It was so nice and just such a great opportunity. So yeah, of course I said yes. And she said, just come to the shop whenever you want and we can discuss that. And so I went yesterday and we started chatting, and we mainly talked about this guy because it's the main star of the show lately. And in October there is a small yarn festival that's happening near our town, near where we live. So there is the big Swiss yarn festival that's at the other side of the country where they speak Swiss German. And then there is a small yarn festival that's near us where we mainly speak French, and it's much smaller. It's a super cute event, I love it. And this year will be the 3rd year, and she is vending at this event every year. And she said we could have a pop-up event stuff there at the festival, and also the week after that at the shop, like 2 events in one. And I was like, oh my god. So we discussed which of my designs we could bring, what yarns we could use to make kits and stuff like that. And it just felt, she was so nice and so cute, and it felt kind of surreal. I was like, wow, I should really call myself a knitwear designer if I'm gonna have an event with kits with my own designs. And yeah, it's just, I'm gonna have to take a little bit more time to really comprehend what's happening. But yeah, this is coming at the end of October / end of November. No, end of October / beginning of November. So we have a long time coming, and yeah, it's just so cool. I'm super proud. And I'm also kind of anxious because it's gonna be like big event, lots of people, having to talk to a lot of people. But I am gifted with a lot of self-confidence, and I know I can do it, and I know it's going to be fun. So for now, I'm not too stressed out. I'm just super excited, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm just so thankful for the opportunity that's given to me to get to know the local community of knitters a little bit more. Because yeah, I'm mainly on Instagram and YouTube, and there is, of course, quite a lot of people around me that talk to me and say that, hey, I live in the same town, or I'm in Switzerland as well. So yeah, I know a lot of people that are also in Switzerland, but seeing them will be totally different. And yeah, I'm just super excited. Anyway, so that's coming at the end of, not summer, this fall. It's coming this fall, and it's awesome. Yes, and the last thing I wanted to talk about is, as I mentioned in my latest podcast episode, I did a whole story time about my mental health journey and how I got diagnosed for autism and all of that. And yeah, I just wanted to come back on the incredible support I received. I wasn't asking for anything, I just wanted to tell you the story. But so many people replied with nice comments and telling their own story and being super supportive and just happy for me and just telling me they enjoy what I do and how I am, and that it just felt so like validating and nice to be accepted, and it was just incredible. So thank you so much for all your nice comments, for people who send me DMs, for people who told me about their own story. As I mentioned, I don't really feel the need to connect to people, but at the same time, I love connecting with people. Yeah, it's a bit difficult. And some people even told me it's the same for them, so it felt nice to feel like there were other people like me, even though I don't really need to feel like there are other people like me. Whatever, you get it. It's complicated, but I just wanted to thank you so much for all your support for that. And even if you didn't left a comment and just thought that it was nice, thank you as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, of course, you can go back and watch that video. There is one thing I wanted to mention as well. Someone commented, and it was just kind of funny. I'm not saying that to shame this person or whatever, but someone commented that they basically gave advice on how I should adapt the way I talk and change so that it would be easier for people to understand. Because the way speak, well, first, English is not my first language, so I have an accent, of course, and I speak quite fast because that's how my brain works. And you're lucky I speak in English, because in French I speak even faster. And yeah, and I also laugh a lot, and then I talk while I'm laughing, so it's difficult to understand. And they just said it would probably deter a lot of people and maybe prevent people from following me, because it's difficult to follow what I'm saying. And I find it funny that I spent like a whole half an hour to explain how I went from pushing myself to mask and be like others wanted me to be, and to finally accept, after years of searching, that I am just weird and I just want to embrace what I am and be who I am, and if people are not happy, then too bad for them. And there is someone that thought it was appropriate to tell me how to change the way I'll talk to please how other people would want to hear me. And I was like, did you even get the point of what I was saying? It's not, I understand where they're coming from. Again, I'm not trying to shame this person. They were genuinely trying to help, I understand that. And because I think it was driven because I said that I would need this designing knitwear activity and YouTube to be my main source of income. So of course I understand why they said how I could help people to understand how I talk when I'm on YouTube. So totally fair. I get the comment. But yeah, the opposition between what I was just telling in the story was funny to me. And it made me think a lot. So again, also a good comment, because it gave me food for thought and it was very interesting to think about all of that. So thank you. Yeah, don't feel bad about this comment. It was a nice one. The other thing is, okay, there is a concept I learned about in architecture school, which is called the fraction d'insatisfait. It would be translated as fraction of insatisfied, yeah, something like that. And basically in architecture, this means that for a given context of temperature, humidity, and levels of light, and everything that can impact your well-being in a room, you can only please a certain amount, a certain percentage of people, and there will always be a percentage of people that are not happy. And we did the test when we were in the auditorium taking the course, and the teacher said, okay, who is feeling okay in the temperature as it is now? So a few, like most of the people raised their hands saying the temperature is okay as is. And then he asked, who is feeling too hot? And like 5 people raised their hand. We were like 300 in the auditorium. And he said, who is feeling too cold? And another like 5-6 people raised their hand. So what it means is that with a given temperature, there will always be people that feel too hot, or always be people that feel too cold. So it's absolutely impossible to please everyone. Impossible. Textbook. So what we aim for in architecture when we design a space and like temperature conditions or stuff like that, we try to please the more people we can. And the acceptable threshold is 5%. So that's what we aim for. If 95% of people are happy in the given conditions, it's the best you can do. Basically, it's impossible to hire. And I think with every type of content you put out on the internet, it's the same. It's impossible to please everyone. There will always be people that find that something that's like your strongest selling point to most people will be your worst flaw to them. And I think that's what happens with the way I talk, because usually I get a ton of comments of people saying, I love the way you talk, I love how funny you are, I love how like natural you feel, and that you just talk to the camera as if you were talking to a friend. And it's exactly what I try to do. I try to not restrain myself, I try to edit myself the less I can. Everything I edit is mostly because it's English and not because it's not me. And yeah, I think for most people, this is the strongest selling point. It's also what reflects the fact that I'm autistic and ADHD and all of that. And I know a lot of people saw that right away, even when I didn't know it. And it's what they feel attracted to. So for most people, I think for the biggest demographic of this channel, the way I am is why they are here. But there will always be a fraction of insatisfied people who think the way I talk and the way I naturally am is not suitable for like content on the internet. And if I want to have a successful YouTube channel, I need to speak a little bit to speak a little bit slower, I need to articulate more, I need to laugh and then talk and knock the two of them together. Because sure, it will be easier to understand, but it will also not be me. And I just want to be me. So anyway, it's just a long train of thought I had since I published this last podcast episode, and I just thought it was an interesting one and that I could share it with you, because I know I'm not the only one doing content on the internet, and this concept of fraction of insatisfied also applies to like knitting patterns, because someone else, or maybe it was the same person, I don't remember, mentioned that the construction bottom-up for the garter yoke here was too complicated and it was just easier to make it top-down because they prefer to knit top-down. And it's a perfect example because, sure, most people prefer to knit top-down, but for every like 10% that prefer top-down, there will be one that prefer bottom-up and that will be happy that this section is knit bottom-up. So who do I choose to please? The majority, or maybe sometimes just to have fun and because it's bouclé and because it's easier to do decreases, I go bottom-up. Yeah, it's just a very interesting concept, and I try to take everything with this in mind, meaning that I never try to please everyone because that's impossible. And that puts a lot of pressure out of me, and I hope knowing about this will maybe take a lot of pressure out of you. Anyway, that was all I wanted to say for today. This episode is of course super long. I hope you'll enjoy editing this, Maya from the future. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you again for your incredible support on my last video. And don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss... I can't talk anymore. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any future content I may put out. If you want to see the rest of my spinning adventures, the rest of my Patagonia Peaks sweater, my muscle tank, all of that. I'm just so excited with all my knitting projects. If I was you, I would subscribe. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. I hope to see you again next time, and until then, happy knitting. Bye.